Hello and welcome to the discussion of strategic secure coding in software development. I'm Maddie, Conference Director at Corinium, and today we'll explore the importance of embedding security into software development processes and the best practices that can help ensure robust, secure applications. I'm thrilled to have Maryam Shoraka with us to share her expertise. Maryam, thank you for joining us, and it's great to have you here. To kick things off, can you introduce yourself to our audience?
Absolutely. It's a pleasure to be here, Maddie. I'm Maryam Shoraka, Head of Cybersecurity Operations in one of the New South Wales government agencies.
Thank you, Maryam. Let's jump right into our first question.
Sure.
To start, embedding security early in the development cycle is often emphasized as the best practice. What are your core principles when it comes to integrating security from the outset?
Well, I would like to emphasize on security by design, Maddie. I believe that it's very important our developers understand security shouldn't come as an aftermath, and it should be implemented as a first stage of every stage that we are going through the life cycle of coding. It's very important because usually I've been a developer, so previously I was like, okay, I code it and then I will review it later and I fix all the issues. But as we know, because of the speed that we need to deal with, most of the time is going to be missed. So it's better if our developers have the mindset to develop a code, and consider cybersecurity from the first stage of the development, considering that, okay, if it's a design, what we need to cover in cybersecurity, like as a cybersecurity, and moving on to the testing and releasing and launching the application. So I would emphasize on that. That would be great if our developers could have that security by design framework and mindset in place.
That's a great foundation. However, modern development cycles are often fast-paced, with significant pressure to deliver quickly. How do you actually balance the need for secure coding with the urgency of shipping products?
Well, it's like driving, when you drive a car, after a while, it becomes your habit, how to deal with different situations, when you to put the brake and when you accelerate. So if we start implementing or educating our developers on secure codings, it becomes their habit. So I believe in training and educating as a first phase. Almost every time we know that everything goes to them, that it's urgent, and we need to do it. But if the developer has that mindset of secure code development, this can be done when they developing a code. So it doesn't need further detailing or things that we need to implement. Like, yes, there are so many automation tools that we can use. We can have a peer review, we can review the code in using different tools, but it should come from the developers. I believe that training is the fundamental step to make that as a habit of coding. As soon as this comes to become a habit, then we shouldn't be worried about the speed or anything like that, because our developers are going to develop secure code.
That's a great insights there. Yeah, you mentioned about automation. I just want to touch up on that a little bit. So automation often plays a key role in streaming processes. Let's explore its impact. What role does automation play in speeding up secure coding practices? How can teams leverage it effectively? Like not just implementing, but effectiveness is quite important.
Well, I believe that before we release a code to become live application, we should use this automation to basically have a proper pipeline, have a proper code review, have a proper vulnerability scanning and fixing the issues. This automation can help. We can use different like static application security testing. We can use dynamic application testing to be able to grab these security issues. But at the end of the day, both these automation have limitations. Both these testing has limitation, and we should address them as well. However, as you know, AI is a big like feature in this new generation, I should say, of everything. And AI can help us a lot here in automation and also reviewing the code before releasing, having it properly implemented in CI/CD, so it will help us to manage the urgency of development, at the same time flagging issues or anything that may cause to data breach or security incident in future. So we can use this sort of automation to test our application, scan it for vulnerabilities, ensure our code is secure as well, to be able to have more confidence when we launch an application.
Yeah, those are valuable insights. So you also touch upon the training and education. Now, fostering a culture where developers prioritize security can be challenging. How would you
Absolutely.
encourage how would you encourage developers to prioritize security, even when it's not the easiest or fastest route?
Well, it's a great question, because we, like I have been faced this challenge many times during my career, and I noticed that the best way is to demonstrate the risk and emphasize on the risk that this can expose the organization or companies to. If the developers understand the risk as a first area, then they can basically come to the culture of training. And this can be like a little bit of gamifying as well, like setting up some sort of best exercises, putting the team developers in a group of challenging and competing against each other to develop more secure, and having the like security champion in developers. So like announcing and advocating these type of things can encourage the team of the developers to participate more, educate themselves on training. And also I believe that if organizations start valuing the knowledge of secure code development of each developers, that encourage developers to go and get the certificate or have a profile of, like for instance, Hack the Box or other security training platforms that they use to upskilling themselves as an evidence of their knowledge and also the passion that they have for cybersecurity. So I feel that we need to use that inner child perspective of each of us to build that culture and say that it's a game. It's also like you can be a champion, and also like we can set up a competition within the like a department, organizations or companies, that who become the most secure code developer. This encourage people to learn more, educate themselves more, and also organizations should support them by having budget for their training or like valuing these type of trainings for each staff members. I feel it's a two-way collaboration that both organization and team members should come to the party and play a role. But building the culture is always a challenge part, especially at the starting part, or changing the culture is the challenge. But organizations and companies can do it in a very fun way of things. Cybersecurity shouldn't be very big and huge and scary to people. It should be fun. It should be enjoyable moment for people to do it.
Yeah, that's very practical and insightful perspective. And I agree. It's at the end of the day, I think it comes to the human, how excited we are. And especially cybersecurity could be a little bit dry to some people, but I think a lot of developers are quite passionate and I guess I see a lot of people are eager to learn. So if there is a platform where they can excel in the skills and also they can have something that's new and a little bit of challenges, then they'll actually tap into those challenges. And I guess that also creates a positive culture. Everyone is trying to meet a goal and have the same direction. Yeah.
And also, Maddie, on top of that, I noticed that having group training sessions, like team come together once a week or once a month, sit down and discuss their own challenges and try to resolve it all together. I implemented this within a couple of organizations that I've worked for, and I noticed that the outcome was outstanding. Also the collaboration and sharing knowledge becomes more and more, because I've been a developer before myself, and I know that they are isolated, they concentrate on doing things and getting things done. But when they come to collaborate together and use the best practices, these study sessions or like group study things can bring so much value and basically break that ice to let them collaborate and share the knowledge and experiences about different challenges that they resolve. I think that's valuable as well.
That's wonderful to hear based on your actual experience as a developer. That's great to hear. Building on that, let's dive into a little bit of the technical side of things, specifically CI/CD pipelines. So, what are some best practices you follow for integrating secure coding checks into CI/CD pipelines?
Well, it's a great question. I think that what we need to do is that to ensure security check is going to be done in every single areas. I remember that I was working as a software engineer for a company in Malaysia, and whenever we develop a code, before we even put that in the release pipeline, we had to have a peer review like with one of the seniors, and to resolve the issues, and then do another peer review with another senior one, even though it was time consuming, I should say. But it had two benefits. One, the person who was working on the actual code could learn from two different perspectives about how could things be done in a better way. And also it would smoother the whole process as through the life cycle of the application development, because yes, you may need to spend so much time as the first phase and think that, oh, how about the urgencies and due dates? But then because you have done the foundation correctly, then the rest of things would be easier. Again, I need to emphasize on security by design framework, which comes that, okay, you have the I don't know, spring, and you come to work together, and like every 2 weeks you need to provide some updates on the task that's been assigned to you. But then reviewing that during the whole process as like a cycle, it will help you. It comes from planning day to releasing, and it should be, and also we should benefit from automation in this whole process, that some of the areas after peer review automation needs to be done to scan the code vulnerabilities, go through the list of libraries that we use within the code to ensure that they do not have vulnerabilities, because most of the time developers use external resources, go to GitHub, find the code that actually resolved the issue and bring it in and try to use it. But if this developer have the mindset of what am I going to use? I'm not going to copy and paste the code from this internet that I found. I need to basically review it, ensure that it doesn't have security hole, it doesn't have like API keys or things like that within the code. These are the areas that, as I mentioned, training with help, education may help the developers to ensure that whatever they use as a resources, it will help. Also, I would like to say that CI/CD is continuous integration, continuous development, meaning that we need to continually integrate best practices, security in our code, in our development, and also in the release. But one of the areas that I believe that especially in Australia we lack is how using the software bills of material, which is a very headachy part of development to generate list of all the external resources that we use. And I could provide an example, Log4j, when it happens, and that's basically vulnerability was big because organizations and companies couldn't figure it out where this part of Log4j has been used within the code, within the server. We're like, where was it? They couldn't find it. So if we discuss training, it should be from the fundamental, developing a SPOM, and also using automation to generate that, to monitor that, to pick up the vulnerabilities, and then we fix that and then move on. Like it should be a cycle, as I believe that we continually monitoring, enhancing, maintaining, and moving on. It should be some practical way of delivering more secure applications, because if our code doesn't support it, no matter how many layers we put on top to protect the code or protect the application, still our application is vulnerable.
That was a lot of things that I could learn from just one question.
I apologize if I overwhelm you.
No, that was excellent. I would love to hear more. Like you seems like have a lot of examples to share, but probably we can save it for our event in February.
Sure.
Yeah, it was super helpful. And now as technology evolves, so secure coding practices must also keep up. Let's kind of look into the future. So how would you prepare for the security implications of emerging technologies like AI, ML in software development?
Well, people are happy about AI. Some people are scared about AI. They think that their job is replaced. AI needs us to get educated. We need to educate our developers to be secure code developers. That AI should learn from these people to help us to develop more secure coders. So I think the data that we give to AI is very important, because the outcome is going to be what we feed to AI. So I believe that AI can be very, very helpful in fast tracking the development and also flagging security issues, but it's very important that what we feed to this AI, what we feed, and also I would like to mention that developers should be mindful about what what tools they use in their development or in their scanning or testing, because AI can be very naughty, I should say, because you can use it in the other way. It can learn also how to hack your code, how to break your code. So it's very important again that we put awareness on the table for everybody, put the training and education for everybody to know how to use AI, to know how to feed information to AI. Don't go to free tools and just ask them to generate a code for you. Still, you need to have the ability to review the code that has been generated to ensure that there is no security vulnerability in it. Don't go and use all the random things that is in the internet at the moment to use it. I believe that education is the first and fundamental and the most important element to use AI. And if we do not know how we deal with AI, it can be very, very risky, and it can expose us to big privacy, data breaches, and security incidents. So I feel AI is very good, very helpful, can reduce so much of headache, but it can be the other way around as well. We need to be very mindful about what we do with AI.
Yeah, I completely agree. And when it comes to AI, I guess at the end of the day, it's a tool. So it comes down to, again, the human side of things. So how responsible you are to, when it comes to using AI. So you have to kind of realize that responsibility comes whenever you use it. And I guess to foster that kind of mindset, education training is very, very important. And I think a lot of organizations are still going to find the best way to do that. So it's quite exciting time to live, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's so I think that's the end of the questions that I have prepared. Any additional comments, final thoughts that you would like to share?
I would like to say that don't scare of security. It's something as enabler. It's not the roadblocker. And I've been developer myself, and I know that developers look at it as a roadblocker and as a headache. This mindset should change. Cybersecurity is enabler to give you more confidence and relief when you browse the internet or use different applications. If you trust the developers who work on the application has the knowledge, it's a peace of mind. Like you can trust that application. So consider security as enablers. It's not roadblocker, is not scary. It's something that people need to know about it more and use it more, be more mindful. That's my message.
Thank you, Maryam. So it's clear that secure coding is both a challenge and an opportunity for modern software development. Your expertise has shed light on practical strategies to make security a priority while navigating the complexities of today's environment. To our viewers, mark your calendars as Maryam will be joining us as a panelist at AppSec and DevSecOps, as well as Cloud Security Sydney 2025 on 12th February. So join us at Royal Randwick Racecourse to continue exploring the world of AppSec and DevSecOps. Thank you so much, Maryam, and thank you to everyone watching.
Thank you
Until
very
next
much,
time.
Maddie. Appreciate your time. Looking forward to the event.
Yeah, same here. Thank you so much,
Thank
Maryam.
you. Take care.